This morning's Farm Report is sponsored by LS Tractor. Start blue, stay blue.
This year, make LS Tractor your all-season workhorse. From spring applications using LS tillers, box blades, rotary cutters, and grapples, to winter applications utilizing LS snow blowers, blades, and brooms. With this lineup, there's no job you can't do with LS Tractors and Implements. Learn more at lstractorusa.com or check out your local LS dealer.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for allowing me to come in and share some thoughts and some activity with you. We appreciate the abiding, ongoing support of LS Tractor. That is one of the newest sponsors here at WHIG, and they make this weekly broadcast with myself possible, and I appreciate it. Here's some topics that are continuing to crop up and be of interest and concern, and one of them is the loss of farmland here in North Carolina. At one time, and I think this still stands true, one of the statistics indicated that North Carolina was number 2 in the loss of farmland in the nation. And so and this is happening through development by and large. And so here's some facts on it that are relatively current. State Agriculture Commissioner Steve Troxler has repeatedly warned that the state could lose more than 1 million acres of farmland to development by 2040. It's a top concern for the state's largest industry, with the Agriculture Department working to resist the trend through its Ag Development and Farm Preservation Trust Fund. To date, the fund has helped preserve more than 30,000 acres, and a new program at the Department of Agriculture aims to honor those who have taken the ultimate step in protecting precious working lands that are vital to the future of agriculture in North Carolina. The recently announced North Carolina Forever Farms program highlights how the state's farmers can permanently protect their property from conversion with agricultural conservation easements through the department's Farmland Preservation Division. A special thank you goes to the farmers, foresters, and landowners that have committed to keeping their land as a natural resource that will benefit future North Carolinians, Troxler said. The Agriculture Department is requesting $15 million in recurring funds in the next biennium budget to expand the trust fund in the coming years. A July 2022 report from the American Farmland Trust Fund found North Carolina ranked second in the nation in potential farmland loss by 2040, only behind Texas. Texas is number 1. The report projected 1.1 million acres of farmland would be converted from agricultural use based on current development numbers, but could increase to 1.6 million acres if development accelerates. Currently, North Carolina is home to about 8.3 million acres of farmland, according to the most recent U.S. Department of Agriculture data. Earlier this month, Troxler announced the economic impact of agriculture in North Carolina hit a record $103.2 billion this year, based on new figures from North Carolina State University economist Mike Walden. That figure represents the economic value of growing, processing, and delivering food, natural fiber, and forestry products, calculated using the latest statistics from the USDA. Last year, the economic impact was pegged at $92.9 billion. Since then, we have grown in the most recent year to exceed $100 billion. Troxler noticed the industry employs 1/5 of its workforce. In addition to the North Carolina Forever Farms, the commissioner also recently unveiled a new North Carolina Friends of Farmland Award to be presented annually to an individual or group that delivers exemplary service in the preservation of working lands in North Carolina and provides extraordinary efforts to foster growth, development, and sustainability of North Carolina family farms. The inaugural award was presented to Johnston County native DeWitt Hardy on May 19th. Hardy served as the Agricultural Department's Farmland Preservation Director from 2006 until his retirement in 2021, when he coordinated the preservation of nearly 30,000 acres. Hardy now supervises the Johnston County Soil and Water Conservation District as he works to list his own farm as a North Carolina Forever Farm. Please join me in congratulating DeWitt Hardy as the inaugural recipient of the North Carolina Friends of Farmland Award, Troxler said. Farmland preservation in North Carolina requires the partnership and cooperation of many farmers, landowners, government entities, and nonprofit organizations, and there is still much work to be done. So this is something that is ongoing. It's been initiated, and the efforts will already reaping rewards. And through these efforts, a lot of valuable farmland will be preserved and prevented from being developed. In a follow-up to the agricultural receipts of the state of this past year, whereby I just said, and I have reported this previously, they have exceeded $100 billion. They came from 92 point some billion year before last to exceed over 100 billion most recently. So let me follow up with that, please. North Carolina agriculture and agribusiness has officially surpassed the $100 billion mark in economic value, reaching a new record of $103.2 billion, according to the latest numbers based on 2021 U.S. Department of Agriculture statistics. The $103.2 billion figure comes from USDA statistics analyzed by North Carolina State University economist and professor emeritus Mike Walden, and reflects the economic value of growing, processing, and delivering food, natural fiber, and forestry products. The latest figures were highlighted by Assistant North Carolina Agriculture Commissioner Sandy Stewart in a May 19th news conference at the Tobacco Pavilion at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds in Raleigh. Stewart was filling in at the news conference for North Carolina Commissioner of Agriculture Steve Troxler, who had to cancel his planned appearance at the last minute due to a family situation. Stewart said Troxler knew people would understand because Troxler has always emphasized that family comes first. Stewart noted that when Troxler took office as Agriculture Commissioner in 2005, the economic impact of agriculture and agribusiness was $59 billion, and Troxler believed that reaching $100 billion seemed like a good goal to work toward. In 2016, Troxler made the prediction that North Carolina agriculture and agribusiness would soon reach $100 billion. It took a little bit longer than we thought to make that goal. In fact, last year's economic impact dropped just a little bit to $92.9 billion, which was just a little bit disappointing. But I'm proud to say that agriculture and agribusiness in North Carolina have made a roaring comeback. Stewart said at the news conference, we did it, the farmers in North Carolina did it, the researchers did it, the General Assembly did it, agribusiness development did it, Farm Bureau, the Grange, all of our commodity groups did it. We did it together. The number represents the economic value of growing, processing, and delivering food, natural fiber, and forestry products to North Carolinians, and really to the world beyond. Today's number is based off of 2021 USDA statistics. Those are the latest we have available. I'm pretty sure that 2022 was a better year, So next year we're going to see that number climb even more, Stewart said. Agriculture remains North Carolina's number one industry, employing about 1/5 of the state's workforce. Stewart said agriculture and agribusiness is the economic engine that drives rural North Carolina and the entire state. It's now time to set a new goal to keep agriculture and agribusiness operations moving forward in the state. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of mouths to feed. And you know, Steve Troxler says that hungry people are mean people, and we've got to keep people fed in North Carolina and across the world, he said. Just as importantly, agriculture feeds the world. As our population continues to grow globally, there will be even more pressure on farmers to produce more food from fewer resources. And as much as the Commissioner has championed reaching this 100 billion plus mark of economic impact, farmland preservation also remains our highest priority. Last year we crossed the mark of preserving 30,000 acres of farmland in North Carolina from development through our farmland conservation program, Stewart said. Stewart said now is not the time to rest. We got to remain focused on what we're doing and remain focused on the work ahead. We know that farmers worldwide will need to produce 75% more food by 2050 in order to feed the world's population. That's a big challenge, but one that our farmers are working on today and will be working on in the future. One that our universities, North Carolina State University, North Carolina A&T University, are currently working on. Gary Fox, the incoming dean of the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences at North Carolina State, pointed to USDA economic research data that shows over the past 80 years, agriculture has operated with little growth in the number of inputs used, such as land, machinery, and fertilizer. But when you look at net productivity, the net productivity of agriculture is basically 2.5 times what it was 60, 70, 80 years ago with no additional inputs. The way that we've been able to do that is because of these very strong partnerships and because of the fact that we have really invested in creating new approaches, creating new technologies, creating new tools that our farmers and our ranchers and our ag community can use throughout the United States, Fox said. What we will do moving forward in the college is to absolutely make sure that we are addressing and creating and innovating to make sure we are creating those partnerships so that we can continue to increase that productivity, the incoming dean said. North Carolina Farm Bureau Federation President Sean Harding said the $103.2 billion figure shows that the North Carolina agriculture and agribusiness continue to grow, and he said that growth must continue. Harding said, as a farmer from eastern North Carolina, his story is the story of North Carolina in many ways. He said his family grew tobacco for many years, but when tobacco went through the buyout, they got out of tobacco and switched to other crops. He said because of the tobacco buyout, North Carolina had to transition its ag economy. We've done that thanks to the support and the working together of the whole ag community. Certainly, tobacco is still important in North Carolina, but we've got 100 other commodities that have sprung up in this state that are just doing fantastic, Harding said. It all goes back to our resilient, tremendous farmers in this state who say, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to figure out how to stay on the farm and how to keep growing this industry. So that's where we stand right now. And I send a shout out to our commodity groups, to our political action groups such as Farm Bureau and Grange, and they're working hard to grow the agribusiness community, and I congratulate them, and we appreciate it. Here's a follow-up to this article that I just shared with you, and this is more insight into the $103 billion record-breaking announcement recently of our gross receipts for the state. North Carolina's agriculture economic value has hit a record-breaking amount. In 2005, the agriculture industry was striving for $59 billion. This year's record-breaking amount is over $103 billion. That's almost twice what was in 2005. Sean Harding, who I just made reference to, president of the North Carolina Farm Bureau, said this achievement means a lot on a state level. And I'll add that it means a lot internationally, globally. We say $100 billion in agriculture. Certainly farmers are the first things we think of, but it's all the other jobs also, said Harding. It's the tractor dealerships, it's the ones that supply fertilizer, it's the people in the downtown that help supply tires and batteries. Mitch Smith is a state agricultural extension agent for Pitt County. He said the economic impact record also helps employment. Agriculture is so important in terms of employment in North Carolina. Agriculture and agribusiness represents 1 out of 5 jobs, said Smith. So with that expansion of agriculture, it represents an expansion into the job market for people who are interested in agriculture and more job possibilities for new graduates. Agriculture Commissioner Steve Troxler said in a statement this year's goals surpassed last year's economic impact by more than 11%. Officials say this is a testament to North Carolina farmers and their resiliency. We've had challenges, with storms. We've had challenges with the changing tobacco economy that was in our history. Our farmers keep figuring it out, said Harding. This year's increase in money helps them continue research and production. In North Carolina, we're number 2 projected in terms of the loss of farmland, just behind Texas. So as we look at population models, it's been predicted that we're going to need to produce 70% more food in order to meet the demands of a rising population, Smith said. We need this, and we need to be able to fund agriculture research so people are able to enjoy the benefits of agriculture. Harding and Smith said it's important to raise awareness about the industry's impact. Because only 2% of our population farm anymore, 98% have no connection to agriculture or where their food comes from. I would just like them to be proud of North Carolina that we are continuing to have a strong agricultural presence here. Certainly support their local farmers in any way, Harding said. We have the safest food source in the world here, and we are thankful for that. So I think continue to support agriculture policy that embraces agricultural research, which enables us to meet the kind of challenges we will face in the future, said Smith. While this amount is a huge goal, the industry looks forward to continuing to grow in the state. So they are some current up-to-date facts about this subject of growing food, of receipts as far as agricultural commodities and related inputs. I'll have more as time goes forward. Thank you for allowing me to tune in. I look forward to being with you next week. God bless you. Thank you.